Hello and welcome to Empowered, the podcast. I am your host, Linda Brand. Today's guest is an inspiration to everybody. She is a powerful young entrepreneur with a story. Samantha Page was working a 40-hour job she hated. She was stressed out, became physically sick, and eventually took the leap of faith, made a decision, took the leap of faith, and chose to follow her passion. She now has a thriving, growing, successful photography business. She's going on her 1-year anniversary. She loves what she does. She's connecting with people. She's creating experiences. And she just got engaged to be married this Christmas. Take a listen, enjoy. Please leave a review if you enjoy. Please share with a friend. I'm trying to grow this audience to reach as many people as I can and help as many people as I can. Enjoy the show. Hi, Sam. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time.
Absolutely. I'm very excited.
Oh, good. So I know that you had a different job and then your passion was photography. And I think you were doing photography part-time at the time. And like when I maybe first met you, and then later we booked a session and you're like, yeah, I quit my job. And I was so like, wow, that's awesome. Good for you.
Yes.
Right. And now your business is just exploding. Like I'm seeing all your Instagram and all your posts and I'm like, geez, she's like constantly doing a wedding or a baby or a boudoir or like something. And I'm like, amazing. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I wanted to bring you on because to me, it's just such a beautiful, powerful story that you followed your passion. So first of all, how old are you?
I am 22. I'm turning 23 in March, so very soon. Been out of high school since 2018. So I graduated locally in 2018 to Florida. So I basically got out of high school and didn't really know what I was going to do. I actually started off working at a daycare first, and I was actually a teacher there for a bunch of little 2-year-olds. And that was great for the time being, but it definitely was not paying enough. And I was constantly sick because the little kids, it's inevitable. So I then went on and started working at a 40-hour business. I was a dispatcher for multiple guys, and I was basically like the office receptionist, office manager. And I was working 40 hours a week, but I was also on call all the time. So it was just a very, very stressful job. And I just was doing my part-time photography at that time, and I was just trying to manage it. And it was a lot of work because I'd be in the middle of a photo session and then I'd have my phone ringing for my full-time job. So it's like I could never really be fully in the session without, my other job kind of coming in. So it's a lot. It was very stressful for sure. So the actual thing that's kind of crazy about it is when I was working this full-time job, my health was just down the drain. I was feeling sick all the time. I was nauseous. I was not happy. I was so sick. And then even in that time, like, I think I had quit for like a month and I had already noticed like massive changes in my health, my happiness, my attitude, just everything started to feel right. And it just felt better.
So was it the stress and you were just so unhappy that like made you kind of make that decision and said, you know what, I'm going to jump in full time?
Yeah, absolutely. So that was a really big part. I just knew that I wasn't happy anymore and it was just so much stress. And I was like, I'm going to just try to take this plunge. And if I don't go all the way, just like headfirst into trying to put all of my, love into my passion, I'll never get anywhere. So now like I can actually go do shoots in the middle of the week when before I really had to limit myself just to weekends because I didn't have time when I got off work on weekdays. Mm-hmm. So I really just had to like throw myself in, and I had honestly no idea. I really thought I was just going to take like 1 month off of work and just really focus on photography, see how it went. And then I was probably going to get like a part-time job or another job if it didn't work out. And I just never ended up having to. I just worked really hard and I was able to just continue doing, photography this whole time. And I'm actually coming up on my 1 year. February 8th will be my 1 year of full-time photography. So it's really exciting.
Oh, congratulations. That's amazing. And
Yes.
like, when did you know that you loved photography? Because it's definitely an art and you're very creative
Yes.
and you're very good. So tell me,
Oh, thank you.
yeah, when did you
So
know?
I've always kind of loved art. Me and my family, we've all been very creative, like growing up, whether we were in like music or, writing. My sister's actually a writer. So we've always had like that passion for like the arts. So I actually, back in, I think it was 2019, there was like a sale going on at Sam's Club. And my boyfriend was like, well, my now fiance, my boyfriend at the time, he
Congratulations.
was,
Yes, you're
thank you.
engaged. That's
Yes.
awesome news.
He told me, he's like, hey, there's a camera for sale here at Sam's Club. Like it's a really good price. Like maybe we should go check it out. I'm like, yeah, it probably won't be there by the time we get there. But we took the trip to Sam's and it was there. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to buy it and see if this is something that I really love, because I was in yearbook in high school. So I would always take pictures in yearbook. So I always really loved meeting new people, getting to hear their stories. And I was like, maybe I can go ahead and do it on my own now. So I bought the camera and I really just was shooting my sister and pictures of like my friends. So it really was like nothing. I didn't even think anything of it. At that time, I had just started that full-time job that I was telling you about. So my head wasn't even in the photography thing. And as the years kind of went on, I was like, wow, I really like this. I love seeing how happy I make people. And when I send them their pictures back and they love it, they love how they look, they love everything about it, the experience. I was like, wow, I really love this feeling. So I just kept trying to work at it and improve myself and,
That's
just take off running with it.
So you didn't have any self-doubt or things popping in and any of that, or did you have it and you moved through it? How did
Oh,
you
I
deal with that?
definitely had it. There's a thing called imposter syndrome, which is a very real thing where you're constantly comparing yourself to the others around you. And I would constantly look at other photographers and be, I will never get to that level. I will never be able to. It's such a saturated market or, for photography. There's so many photographers. So I was like, there's no way that I would be somebody that someone would pick. So I would always definitely like doubt myself in the beginning. But as I started to grow, I learned that there is always somebody out there that will want you. And you give that client experience that will keep them coming back and then getting the word of mouth recommended to you.
That's
So
incredible.
doubt was definitely a thing. But if I kept listening to it, then I probably wouldn't have been at the level that I am like today.
Absolutely. I mean, we all have it. It's like crazy. One of my favorite authors and spiritual leaders is Gabby Bernstein, and she's written probably 9 or 10 books now. And I remember like her doing, she's very vulnerable and shares everything. So she was sharing something, and one of her clients or followers was like, I'm having imposter syndrome. I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm a fraud. And she's like, honey, I'm writing my 9th book and I'm still a basket case, or whatever she said. It was really close to that. It was like, we're always a work in progress. We're always trying to be better. But like that inner critic is in there. Like you said, you had that self-doubt. Who's going to choose me and all that.
Absolutely. I
And
definitely got worried when I started to charge people. I was like thinking to myself, there's no way that somebody's going to pay me to do this. I feel like I don't deserve to be paid for this because I felt like I was just being a fraud, like you just said. And I just was nervous that people could see it. But I self taught myself pretty much everything. I watched hours and hours of YouTube videos. And the other cool thing is actually my sister kind of started photography around the same time. So we both kind of just bounced off each other, learning new things. And so we are both completely self-taught.
That's incredible. Yeah, I was going to say, you told me that. You said, I'm self-taught. And I was like, wow. And you know what? You can do anything. Like if you
Yeah,
put your mind to it, it's all available to us. It's all there,
absolutely.
I mean, you can teach yourself guitar, you can teach yourself, it's wild when you learn to
Yep.
read the stories and read the books. It's so inspiring. So you told us when you started, which is coming up on a year, and then you told us what you were doing before and how old you are now, and then you just got engaged, which I'm so excited for you. Congratulations. Was
Yes.
that like a total surprise, or did
It
you?
was a big surprise, which is really funny because obviously in the profession that I'm in, I literally help people plan engagements constantly. So I was like, there's no way he's going to be able to surprise me. I'll know exactly what's going on. But he definitely did get me. He surprised me completely. And he has been just the most constant person in my life. We've been together since 2018. So it's been a while, but we've also known each other since we were in second grade. So we've known each other our whole lives. And we reconnected together kind of like at the end of high school and just started dating since then. And he has been the most supportive person ever. He's probably the reason that I've been able to really jump into what I love to do, because if it weren't for him telling me that he believes in me and he knows that I could do it, I would be probably psyching myself out a little bit. And he's been so great. He's probably the most supportive person in my life.
That's incredible. What a
Yes.
blessing. What a blessing. Thank you for sharing that. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's your biggest cheerleader. I remember when you
Yep.
were doing a photo shoot for me, you're like, oh yeah, and he built me this, something was for Christmas.
Yeah. My arch for my pictures.
Yeah. That's so wonderful. How blessed. That's
Yeah.
great.
He is amazing.
And yeah, my next question was going to be, what mentor or book, is there a book or something that inspired you or changed your life? It impacted you, but it sounds like he was this huge cheerleader, but was there any books or anything that kind of impacted?
Yeah. So I've read a book called Girls Stop Apologizing by Rachel Hollis, and she is really great. The way she writes is just, it's very inspiring because it's not like the cookie cutter, like, you got this. She like knows that it's hard and like you're gonna struggle and there is gonna be things that like happen. And just her writing style is very like relatable to read. So reading like just the way that you can get inspired by her, like it definitely helped me decide that I really need to do something better and bigger for my life and just kind of take that leap of faith, which is really the whole point of like this. I took the most giant leap of faith just into myself, which was so scary. But, if I never did it, I would not be where I'm at, which is crazy.
Yeah, you've grown, you've learned a ton, you've created this beautiful business and it's just growing. I can just see you hiring assistants. And do you have anybody helping you right now?
So I pretty much do everything. I take the pictures, go through them and we call it culling. So it's like we go through and get rid of the ones where somebody blinked or weren't looking correctly. And then I edit them and then I save them. And there's a lot of work that goes into the business that people don't realize. And that's why when everyone's like, wow, that's so expensive, it really is priced to how much we have to do. Like the gear is expensive, the editing service, the delivery service. There's so many hidden fees that go into like what we do to then actually pay ourselves too. So it is a lot of work to,
Of
be
course.
doing
And
this.
time is
So
money. And it's, you're paying
yeah.
for, it's time is money. And I mean, everybody loves my photos. So if anybody wants to know your work, they can look at mine and I'm sure you're going to
Yes.
get business from that. So just one last question I want to ask before I'll ask you where people can find you is what would you tell the teenager today who doesn't know what they want to do with their life and they have no idea?
So I would honestly tell them, life is really scary. There's a lot of things out there, but take some of your passions that you have in life and just go for it. Just really try to put the pieces together, make yourself goals, but goals that you will actually follow through with. And just, take that leap of faith. And the worst thing that can happen is that at this time, maybe it doesn't go your way, but that doesn't mean to stop trying. If I would have stopped trying, like I said, I wouldn't be here because I've been taking pictures since roughly 2019, 2020, 2021, but didn't like fully go into it and go full time until February 2021. Or 2022, I'm sorry. So you just have to try and put your all into what you love doing. Otherwise, you will literally never know what could have come from it. So it doesn't hurt to try. Just invest in yourself, invest in your happiness. That is the most important thing, especially in like the world that we're in. Everything's crazy. So try to invest in yourself and you'll be the happiest you've ever been.
So good. I love that. Thank you so much. I was listening and I was coming up with, I had another question and now like while you're talking, it's like music for my ears, truly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so good. Oh, I was going to share that one of my son's friends made a decision to not go back to college with 1 year left.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking to me about it and not wanting to, being very afraid to talk to his parents. But he's following his passion, which is music. And one of the things I said is like, what is the worst case scenario? That's something that people can do. It's like, what is the worst case scenario if I follow this? Like, and then once you face that, you're like, well, okay, that's not that terrible, right? And you just kind of keep. And then, another question that's really important to me. And that is, do you believe in a higher power? Did you step into faith at all?
Oh yeah, I pray every single night. I've always kind of had that mentality. And I think it's sometimes kind of crazy because I actually have prayed for certain specific things to happen. And then the next day it happens. Like I've like prayed, like, I really, really want to get a wedding inquiry soon. And then the next day something like that would happen. So I'd be like, okay, that's kind of weird, kind of crazy how that just happened. So I do pray for, things like that.
I just wondered. That's to me, that's really powerful.
And obviously a lot of manifestation, in the beginning would say, I am successful, I am powerful, I am wealthy, I am this, and just the strong things where you say it out. Yes, the affirmation, saying it out loud and making it known is such a good mindset. And even if you feel like it's not doing anything, you are really changing your mindset by doing those daily affirmations.
Oh my gosh, you're so wise beyond your years. Oh my gosh, I had no idea. You were spiritual, that you prayed, that you did affirmations. That's incredible. Wow, that's so great.
Yes.
And then one other thing I just learned in this conversation was about your health going down when you were so unhappy. I mean, that is just.
I was struggling really bad with acid reflux, which I still have. It's very normal to have situations like that. But when the stress was really high, that would get worse. So I would lose weight because I wasn't eating a lot and I would just not feel well. So obviously you don't really want to eat when you don't feel well. So I was struggling. So it was definitely a tough adjustment. And that was one of my honestly biggest factors too, is that I knew that I really wanted to do photography, but I also knew that if I didn't leave the position that I was in, I was just going to make myself sicker because I just did not feel right. I wanted to feel like myself again.
Yeah, you weren't in alignment and you also were stressed, and that will take anybody down. Like stress is really, I'm learning this more and more and more. It's like stress is like deadly. Like stress it's awful. It is. And I had said earlier, my son's reinventing himself because his last job was so stressful and he was so unhappy. And it's like, we can't worry what others think, like, period. Like, no one's paying your bills and no one's living your life. You have one life, right? Let's, make it the best, be happy. And I feel like when you pray for something and the next day it happens for you, it's because you're in alignment and you're happy and you're doing your purpose work. Like you're doing your love, so
exactly.
Like, yeah, it's just fabulous.
And I just want to let people know that even if you are praying or you're manifesting and you feel like things are still not going your way, they will. You might just be in like a period in your life where, stuff is, I really truly believe that everything happens for a reason. And that is such a big statement that I live by. And then another one that I also like really believe in, that I actually have a tattoo right here in my mom's handwriting, is "This too shall pass." I love that because whenever you're struggling, no matter what you're going through, it will pass. So when I was a kid, she would tell me that constantly because I was a neurotic. I was a mess when I was a kid. I had a lot of problems. I was very shy. I was not outgoing in the slightest. So
Yeah,
she
we'd
really
never know
helped
that
me.
about you. Yeah.
Yep. I had a lot of issues growing up, and I have definitely been told by a lot of people that I have grown so much just in front of them. Like my grandparents and my parents said that I am unrecognizable from when I was a child because I had just been, so much anxiety, which I still struggle with those things. That's completely normal. But I was in debilitating anxiety state when I was a kid, and just growing and learning from those things and
Mm.
just teaching myself to, that everything will pass and it will be okay. Everything will be okay.
Thank you for sharing that. I love that you shared that because, just looking at you and all of this, it just sounds like I would have never known that about you, honestly. And thank you for sharing. And you're right, being patient in God's timing. And, like we
Absolutely.
all want everything right away, right away. And it's kind of
Yeah.
like, yeah, you just
I
have
know
to
we talked about
step.
being an Aries sign,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is very outgoing. And as I was growing up, I was like, that's not me. I don't understand why I don't feel like I'm an Aries. But as I've grown up, I kind of see more of the traits in me. And I'm like, okay, maybe I am outgoing because everyone that I connects with me on a personal level. And I feel like I'm really able to make such a good client experience because I care about every single person that I work with. And
Mm.
not just because it's a business transaction, I care about, what's going on. If they need to come to me and vent about something, if they need to get stuff off their chest, if they have issues, I'm so involved in mental health because I struggled so much that if you are working with me and just because we're exchanging services or doing something, I am there for you in your personal life. I'm there to help you with anything. And I like to create those good bonds. And I think that's what really helps with creating that client experience of like, you're not just my client, you're my friend.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, that's a very important. Me being an entrepreneur for 30 years and being in business, the real estate, and then now coaching, it's like, it's not about the money or the transaction, it's the relationship because that's how you're going to get the referral. I mean, not just because it's going to get the referral,
Yeah,
but it's
of
just like
course.
you're feeling good about yourself when you're serving and you're helping others, right? So that's really nice.
Absolutely.
That's all.
It's the best feeling in my photography is especially with wedding days, just you are
Mm.
giving them something to look back on and remember forever. Those pictures are going to be framed in their house for their kids, their grandkids, and everyone to see. And just knowing that my work is going to be viewed by so
Mhm.
many people is just, it makes me so happy. It is an unbelievable feeling.
Yeah, you're definitely awesome. So, is there anything else you want to share with my audience before we find out where to find you? And I'll put all your links in the show notes.
I really don't think so. I think my biggest thing to leave off with is positivity is always going to help you succeed. And I know days are going to get hard and rough. I still struggle with that. Being a business owner is hard. It is not, as glamorous and amazing as people think. There's so much that goes into it that I still get stressed out, but I'm working for myself. And, that positivity will
Yeah.
keep you going the whole time.
So, I do have a couple more quick questions about business. So, how did you yeah, it's your passion, you're amazing at it, you're creative, you're beautiful, you're a great soul, and you're doing this and you're getting referrals and all that. But what about the business aspect of it? Like the profit and loss and all the things. Where did you learn that and your contracts? Where did you get that information? Or how are you doing with that? Because some people
So,
start a business and then they're like,
yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah.
how to run a business. So
I can see being into it now why a lot of businesses do fail. It is not easy, and they don't make it easy for a reason because they want the people that have the passion and the drive to be the ones that succeed. So I am also kind of self-taught in that. I did a lot of research on, photography businesses, again, watching a lot of YouTube videos, reading a lot of articles, looking stuff up online. because obviously I, established, became an LLC. So there's all the work that goes into that. And then you got to deal with, the IRS and, the taxes. And another thing that plays into, why are you so expensive? You don't profit all of your money. You have to pay somebody to run a business. So it's like, it's so much harder than you would think, but I did a lot of research and I'm still learning. I learn new things every single day. So marketing strategies, I also kind of picked up on like videos that I've watched. I utilize like hashtags and, location tags. And I've had so many people find me that way. They said that they searched up Florida photographer, they loved my work, and then they booked me. So it's like the marketing strategy really helps. A really also good thing that I'll leave off on for this is post yourself. Post pictures of your life, post yourself, talk in videos. If there's a face to the business, people are more likely to want to interact with you and book with you because they see you for you and not just a business.
Yeah, that's great advice. That's great advice. And then the name of your business.
Photography. So it's my first name, Samantha, and then my middle initial. So the SL and then photography.
Oh, okay. And then what is the L? What is your middle name?
My middle name is Lee.
Oh, okay. Beautiful. Okay. So that was just incredible. I love it. Tell people where they can find you.
So my main platform that I use pretty much religiously every day is Instagram. You can find me at SL Photography, and it has 2 Y's at the end. And then I am on Facebook with the same name. And I also have a website, same name, www.slphotography.com.
Awesome. And then to be honest, I think your prices are very reasonable, actually, when you were saying that people are saying that, because I'm like, wait a minute. When I compare to what I was paying in Michigan, I think you're fair. You're very, very fair. That's why I've used you more than once, and I will use you again. I will recommend you. Yes. And then is the website, does that have 2 Y's also, or just?
Yes.
Oh, it does.
That one does have 2 Y's as well.
Oh, cute. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time. This was incredible, and just I love it. And I'll definitely be booking some new shots very soon.
Yes, absolutely. Got to get the 2023 pictures.
Exactly. Isn't that story great? Sam is such an inspiration to everybody at all ages. I'm so impressed with her. Her work is phenomenal. All of her links will be in the show notes. If you mention the podcast Empowered, you will have 10% off. She's giving 10% off to anyone who mentions the podcast Empowered. Have a beautiful day. Until next time.